Hello and welcome to episode 119 of the Pat and Dre Show.
You know, I've been thinking,
We are going to talk about this.
In terms of movie blockbusters, if James Bond teamed up with Agent Cody Banks, wouldn't that be one of the greatest cinematic team-ups we would ever have?
I can think of about 6 better ones right now.
Like Bond could teach him how to be a real spy.
He's already Bond.
Cody Banks could teach him how to lighten up a little bit. You know, I'm just think about it, America.
One of those days. Hey,
think about it.
If you don't know, my name is Patrick.
My name is Dre. We are two guys who love movies, love to talk about movies. That's what this podcast, this video show is all about. We are the internet's number one movie trailer critique, midweek movie news, multiple shows now.
That's right.
And we're too beautiful to be contained by audio, so now you're getting a double dose.
That's right. If you're listening just on the podcast, you may not know that we are now on video on YouTube.
We have bought the YouTubes.
We bought it.
We own it.
We've got so much good stuff coming up this week, so stick around for episode 119.
Our Cody Banks tribute movie is in the works. 119 coming at you. Think about it. You would have that scene where they're at the bar and Bond would get his shaken not stirred drink.
I'm glad people can actually see this now.
Cody Banks would get a milk, you know? It would be hilarious. Anyways,
awesome.
What are we talking about today?
We're talking about a bunch of different movies, right?
Yeah, we got 3 movies.
Yeah, and usually you tell us, like, what's the point of a movie trailer?
You know, I just like to smile at the camera. Hello!
Hey.
Anyways, we got 3 movies we're going to be talking about, 3 trailers. We're catching up from last week and talking about 2 releases for this weekend. Point of a trailer is twofold. Say along with me at home. First of all, a trailer is supposed to tell you a little bit about what the movie is about. Secondly, a trailer is supposed to tease you, excite you, titillate you, if you will, to get you to drop your hard-earned money on spin, because it costs like $100 to go to the movies. So a trailer is supposed to tease you. So today we're kicking off with the 100th Bond movie, Skyfall, Daniel Craig's 3rd time as James Bond. Skyrim. We just watched the trailer. Pat, what's Skyfall about?
Skyfall is about cool stuff. It's about Bond.
Cool stuff. The end. Boom.
Yeah,
all right, let's get impressions.
It's about James Bond. Duh. In the beginning of this trailer, it's like the first scene in the trailer, he gets shot and presumably killed.
Yes.
He is dead. No more James Bond. Or this one. I don't know. After that, it seems like M, the old lady's name, M.
Judi Dench.
Yeah.
Dame Judi Dench.
She
I think it's illegal to not call her that.
Ooh, then I just won't call her anything. I'll call her M. She loses a file that basically gives up all the identities of every secret agent, basically, that works with there. Then after that, we find out, oh man, Daniel Craig isn't dead. Except you're more like, James Bond isn't dead, because Daniel Craig doesn't exist in that world. And so he comes back. There's this guy, I don't really know who he is, but he's trying to send a message or attack or kill.
Was it the Javier Bardem character?
Kill M. And that's when Bond comes back. And let me just say, it gets a little crazy. Ooh. Dre, it's interesting you're getting me your thoughts on this trailer, but tell me, from the trailer alone, what do you think?
See, it's interesting because if you stick around, we have a bonus review, an after-credit scene where I've seen Skyfall. And so I'm going to be giving you my humble yet accurate thoughts on Skyfall. But let me tell you a little bit about why I wanted to see Skyfall. And the reality is it was because of the trailer. I loved Casino Royale. Quantum... I don't remember hating it, Quantum of Solace, like a lot of people did, but I don't remember Quantum, and I know I saw it, so that tells me how I felt about the movie. Sure. That I don't remember at all anything that happened in Quantum, and it's been a while. So when I first saw the teaser for Skyfall, not the trailer we watched, but the teaser trailer, it was like, okay. And then we watched this trailer. I had seen this trailer before, and it's everything I would want in a James Bond movie. It's fast-paced, it's action, it's dark, kind of like what I've loved about the Bond reboots is how they kind of dig into like the Bourne identity. Like,
yeah, it felt like that in the beginning.
Yeah, like the grittier fighting, a little bit more serious. But you see in the trailer, and this is what really hooked me too, is I've never really been a huge fan of the old James Bonds. Okay. know, the rocket pack, laser, watches, James Bond. But this, you see in the trailer, because you see Q in the trailer, as a young kid as Q. They're starting to bring in more of the Bond mythology, so to speak, but within their filter. And there was just this mystery. What I loved about the trailer is the villain, the Javier Bardem character. You don't know a lot about him.
Sure.
It's really intriguing, and so when I watched this trailer, I was at a family function and somebody threw it on the Apple TV. I watched it and went, I am in.
Yeah.
I really want to see that. So this trailer left me really, really excited for Skyfall. What do you think?
Yeah, the trailer was awesome. It felt like two things to me. It felt very Bourne-esque, but it also felt very...
And that's not a bad thing.
No, totally.
No, we're fans of the Bourne movies.
Sure.
So.
It felt also a lot like the new Batman reboot, like the Dark Knight series.
How so?
It was weird.
Nobody was wearing a cape.
That's true, but there was two things. One, when they were going after M, for whatever reason, they had this cool shot down a hall, and I was positive Alfred was going to walk out. and then I stopped myself. I'm like, what am I doing?
He is a British actor. You imagine Michael Caine's like, oh, wrong movie.
Oh, whoa, whoa.
Oh, hey, this wasn't every British actor? Okay.
So there was that, and then there's a line in the trailer that says something about this bad guy's like, you don't even know what evil you're up against, or something like that. And I was like, holy crap, is Bane gonna come out? Like, it felt like that. And maybe it's just me. Maybe when you're watching
awesome. James Bond and Bane.
That would be sick. I would watch that.
Yeah.
Daniel Craig and what's his other Dan? Who played
Bane? Oh, yeah, Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy. I don't know why I call him Dan.
Dan Quayle.
Awesome.
You know,
Dan,
famous actor.
Just Dan. So anyway. All that to say, both two movie franchises that I was mistaking it for that I love, I dig it. Like,
yeah.
I'm in. It looks so awesome, so cool. There's such an iconic piece. It's in every trailer where the James Bond character lands in like this moving train, and he like adjusts his cuff and kind of shakes it out and keeps like
He's
moving.
Just ultra
it's just
cool.
like, what's up?
And I think Daniel Craig, to me, in the grim and grittier world of the reboot, nails that better than, especially like a Pierce Brosnan or Timothy Dalton or some of these past Bonds, he's in the middle of these life-threatening situations, but he keeps his cool. He's just this ultra cool guy, and I love it. So who do you think should go see?
Well, here's what I'd say. I can only tell you who shouldn't see this. One, super young kids. I think anything over 12, you're probably going to really enjoy it.
Yeah, that's true.
But so young kids, no. And then if you don't like action movies, don't see it. Anyone else, go see it.
If you don't like action movies, what's wrong with you?
Why are you watching this?
Oh my gosh, raise your hand so somebody can slap you. Really?
Yeah.
You don't like Die Hard and stuff like that? Okay. Anyways, I'm angry.
Anyway, so I think anybody,
I can see you through the computer. I know you.
Anybody except for people who don't like action movies.
Yeah,
everyone's
that's
gonna
true.
like it. And actually, you can see this movie got released a couple weeks early in foreign theaters, and I think at this point it's made over $400 million.
Well, we're doing the show the week after opening weekend, and it made almost $90 million in opening weekend. Huge for the biggest Bond franchise record. I think set some records for November, but obviously people are watching it.
Yeah, so go see it. I mean, do you have any other thoughts on that?
No, you know what? I mean, I think exactly what you said. I think this got a wide appeal. So I'm going to talk more about it after credits, but my quick preview is I can't recommend it enough. Go watch Skyfall.
Yeah, so stick around.
Anyways, next movie. Woo! Double guns.
All right, movie number 2 that we're looking at this weekend, it's finally opening in wide release, is unfortunately not the sequel to the blockbuster summer hit, but a standalone movie for Abraham Lincoln, and it is called Lincoln. Dre, what did you think of this trailer?
Really surprised to not see a single vampire in this.
I was a little upset. I'm not gonna lie.
Let's state historical accuracy, would you, Steven Spielberg? Actually, the trailer was really, really simple. It wasn't so much like, to me, I don't actually consider like a standard movie trailer. It's different shots of Lincoln and what you know about President Lincoln dealing with the issue of emancipating the slaves. And so really the trailer just fades in and out on different actors. Daniel Day-Lewis obviously plays Abraham Lincoln.
So good.
Shots of Sally Field, who's playing his wife. You got Tommy Lee Jones in there. Joseph Gordon-Levitt is in there. And then shots of people in Congress arguing whether the slaves should be free. Really? And then there's epic music, you know? And there's a lot of people's names with Academy Award winner in titles after it. So that's really the trailer for Lincoln. Pat, What do you think?
I'll keep it short and sweet. It's a heavy hitter of a movie. What
do you mean by that?
It's got a lot of power.
It's going to punch you in the face?
Yes, it will, with Academy Award winners. It's got some really big name people, and when I think of having a movie with a lot of big names in it, they're usually not in it for the paycheck as much as they're in it because they know that this is going to be a good movie and they want to.
They're trying to win an Oscar.
Yeah,
you can really tell by the trailer they want to be Best Picture.
Sure, and it certainly looks like that caliber and quality of movie. I think it's a little bit of a niche audience. Not everybody's going to want to see this. It's opening up against the movie that we'll talk about after this, so it's certainly not going to be a #1 box office.
It may not sap away the teenage vampire-loving audience.
It may not.
Unless a few confused boys wander in thinking he is going to slay vampires.
Yeah, there was no vampires at all! So I'm actually probably going to see this, but I'm going to see this with my parents. My mom is a government and economics and history teacher, and so she's into this, and I think that's really the audience here. Who's going to see it? I think it's going to be an older audience, or people who really enjoy like film for the sake of film. You're not getting a new story. You're not getting something out of the ordinary. You know what you're going in to get. You're going in to see a visual interpretation of the history, and if that's you, then it's your kind of movie.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's really all I have to say about this movie.
Yeah. You know, I mean, this movie is going to hold me over until, you know, Van Buren comes out, because really waiting for that epic retelling. I agree with what you're saying. Like, it looks epic. I mean, it looks good. Spielberg is swinging for the fences. And and it looks like they're going to deliver. You know, I don't really know what else to say about it. There's one thing, though, and this is going to sound weird, but it's one thing that actually bothers me.
What?
And it's
how good Daniel Day-Lewis is and looks.
You know what? I agree with all that, but I'm kind of bothered by how he sounds as President Lincoln.
How did you picture it?
He doesn't sound like Lincoln does at Disneyland.
Oh my god.
No, but hear me out. Shut up. Hear me out. This is my time. This is my time. Hear me out. Okay. Using Disneyland as an example. When you hear Lincoln, and in other popular culture, Lincoln has a very distinct, kind of lower voice with a very distinct cadence to it. Sure. Daniel Day-Lewis has gone like higher, and it just sounds different. The first time I saw the trailer, it kind of caught me off guard, and it was a distraction for me.
Oh my God.
You don't sound like Lincoln. To me, it's like if somebody were doing JFK with a very distinct voice, and they didn't sound like JFK, it would be something that distracted you.
Footage of JFK. We've got speeches of JFK, not just written transcripts.
We have a freaking robot at Disneyland, okay? That thing is true to life. It stands up, Pat. I'm just saying, it bothers me, okay? I'm not saying the movie's not going to be good.
But you're not going to see it because of that.
No, I'm probably going to see it. It's just that bothers me. I'm allowed. Can I not have an opinion? Is this not the country President Lincoln sacrificed his life for?
I don't know yet.
So I can criticize the actor that plays him?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know yet.
What do you think? Sound off in the comments. Did Lincoln's voice bother you because it didn't sound like it did in Disneyland? Let me know. Right.
Let's go to our next movie and quick.
Our final trailer we're talking about is the end of the epic, the world-changing, some might say, Twilight Saga, Breaking Dawn Part 2. We just watched the official trailer. Pat,
gosh.
What are these nutty vampires up to now?
I gotta say, I could not be more excited that this is almost over. It's almost over forever.
Here's the Pat and Dre Lock of the Week. 1 year reboot.
Done.
There we
Locked
go.
in.
It's going to get rebooted.
They have talked about doing another series within the world with different characters. I don't know if you heard about that.
I haven't.
But I'm so excited.
So Breaking Dawn Part 2. So what is this about?
So I think I've seen most of these movies. I may not have seen, because I'm a good husband or boyfriend when this started, now husband. I don't really remember too much about the recent one. I guess they got married and have a little vampire baby on the way.
I can't pronounce that kid's name.
Oh, yeah.
Renesmee.
That's good.
Renesmee. They even said in the trailer and it made no sense to me.
I'm going to call her Rennie.
Okay, Rennie.
Rennie. So baby vampire, turns out that's a big no-no in the vampire society and culture. You're not allowed to come together and make a vampire immortal baby, and the punishment...
Is that what that symbolizes?
This means vampire immortal baby making. Because the punishment is death. So now they have the Volturi, the ruling vampire council.
That means they have long hair.
And they wear cloaks. They're coming after the Cullen family.
I love me some Dakota Fanning.
It's going to be an epic battle to end all battles. Dre, are you as excited as I am?
Okay, so let's clarify a couple things.
Yeah.
I think it's really easy to hate on the Twilight franchise, and with good reason. Now, we're going to talk a little bit after this trailer, after we dissect this trailer, about the Twilight franchise.
Sure.
So to not spoil any of that, the reality is the Twilight franchise is not for us.
No.
And so I've tried. I've tried watching some of these movies. I've tried asking people that have read the books, like, help me understand. It just clearly is not for me. Mm-hmm. And so this trailer does nothing for me. And I don't want to be the stereotypical guy hater Twilight. That's not what I'm trying to be. And especially because I'm not against the teen, what's it, young adult, young teen books.
I don't know. A lot of moms read this book series too.
Well, I mean, because like in terms of this whole genre, you know, the Hunger Games I was interested in. And I enjoyed the movie, and the books sound interesting to me. So it's not the genre, it's just the subject matter in and of itself. It's not what I want. And so watching this preview, there, you know, one, I just, you know, fan of the show, Kristen Stewart, just is not a good actress. And I don't understand how she's made it. She's just hard to watch. Like, I don't have a problem with Edward.
Oh, I do. I hope they never get to do any other movies ever again. Robert Pattinson, Taylor Lautner, Kristen Stewart.
Taylor Lautner's pretty bad to me as well.
Go away.
But I think what's weird for me in the trailer is it's just everything they seem to do is done really, really poorly. The interaction, even we were laughing watching just because some of the in the trailer they have the special effects of Vampire Bella attacking a mountain lion. I think
it was so
and it
great.
just looked bad. And I've always said the werewolves just look bad in the movie. And in the trailer they're recruiting other vampires to fight the Volturi,
yeah.
Whatever Dakota Fanning is part of. And they start talking about how these other vampires have different powers, and it seems like they're recruiting the X-Men.
Or like you said, like different benders.
Well, there was a water bender from Avatar. There was some guy or girl with electricity, like Electro.
Like firebenders, powerful firebenders.
Yeah, I guess. It just seemed like the X-Men were coming together. And what's the Cullen girl that predicts the future or sees the future?
Amanda's character, right? Is that her name? Amanda something?
I don't know.
So
she can't grow her hair longer because she's a vampire, because she has the worst haircut ever.
That's true. She's got kind of like the current Anne Hathaway haircut going on.
Yeah, and she only had to do that. Anne Hathaway only had to do that because of Les Mis.
Yeah.
So this is not for me. I'm not going to go see it. I'm sure my wife is. And my wife has great taste in movies, but she likes the Twilight. But it's funny because my wife she liked the books, and she has seen every movie and has said these movies aren't that good. She goes because of the book, because she enjoyed the book, and it's a fun thing her and her friends do. And that's unique for me as a Twilight fan, for her to acknowledge that the movies just aren't good. Yeah, so what do you think?
Well, something to say. I mean, we don't have to say who this is for. I mean, if you're just like, what is this?
Twihards or heads.
If you're watching this and you're like, what is this Twilight movie?
Hey, if you're a Twilight fan, do me a favor. Go to the midnight premiere dressed as Katniss and see what they do. I'm just curious.
That would be awesome. That would be so
kind of walking with the Mockingjay, like, is this not?
Whoa.
Oh. So do it. Think about it.
Okay. I was at a party last week.
Ooh, you go to parties.
We had dinner. It was lovely. But I was
trying to rub it in my face, Pat.
Check your Facebook invites.
Sitting at home with my ramen.
Anyway, so there was I was hanging out at a table with a lot of my friends who are ladies, and I asked them, "Are you interested in what do you think about the new Twilight movie?" All of them said, "I'm going to see it just because I'm going to finish it." I really have lost interest in the series, like
But they like the books, right?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
But the pull to the movies has lost.
So we're seeing more fans of the books that just aren't hooked by the movies.
Yeah, but I mean, it doesn't matter that if you can go see it because you just want to finish it, or you can go see it because
now it's going to make a lot of money.
Yeah, it's going to make a lot of money. It'll be #1 in the box office this week because it's opening against Lincoln. But I mean, everyone knows who this is for. Mm-hmm. If you're just figuring out what Twilight is, then spare yourself and don't look it up. But it's for the diehard Twitard people, And did that just come out of my mouth? Yes.
That's rude. We're gonna get.
I will not be seeing this movie because I value my time more.
Neither will I. So let's segue a little bit. We're going to have an awesome editing transition in a bit. But we've been talking. We're like, okay, we don't want to be haters of Twilight, but it's not for us. So in the next segment, Pat and I are going to be talking a little bit. We're each bringing a couple ideas. What would make the Twilight franchise more appealing to people like us? So boom. All right, like we said in the last segment, we're going to keep talking about Twilight. And, you know, Twilight isn't necessarily something that's up our alley. You know, it's not, we're not the target audience for it. It's not necessarily a gender thing. It's just a taste thing. So we got to thinking, like, if Pat and I were able to rewrite Twilight or to rewrite these movies, what would make this world more appealing to us? So Pat, what's your first thought on that?
You know, it's something we talked about at some point. There's one of the movies where they go into like the backstory.
Eclipse.
Right.
That was the first one I saw, actually.
But it's like the third movie or so?
Yes.
Okay, whichever one it was. They go into the backstory of these characters, and first of all, if you don't know, I'm a sucker for backstory.
Yes.
Like, I love stories that, like, something's already happened, and you're just getting filled in pieces and pieces.
Yeah.
I love it. But I was really intrigued when I watched, it was going through the individual members of the Cullen family, I think how they were turned into vampires. And I found myself thinking, like, wow, I actually care way more about where they've been than where they're going. I don't care about the romance or the future vampire baby.
Yeah.
I mean, I just despise the Bella character. Like, I just, ugh. But I really am interested. There was, I think, the dad Cullen, whatever his name is.
Daddy Cullen.
Daddy Cullen.
Big Daddy
Papa,
C.
Papa
Bear Cullen.
He had an interesting story. I'm not sure if it was for him or if it was him turning Edward into a vampire. But whatever it was, I was like, I would watch that movie. I'd watch that.
You know, you're right. I remember watching Eclipse and thinking that was the best part of the movie to me.
Yeah.
Was because there was the Civil War one. There was the sister, the blonde one, who's got a bad attitude.
That's cool. The 1920s one.
The 1920s. I think you had mentioned off air, kind of like the Corpse Bride.
Yeah, the Corpse Bride-y weirdness.
But I think what I really liked about these stories is they were tragic.
Sure.
They really hooked you, and especially that sister, because Bella wanted to be a vampire, and they were almost discouraging her through these stories and talking about how they were frozen. And so they were talking about how they view themselves as being cursed.
Yeah.
And that was really intriguing to me.
Sure, that's interesting. So, I mean, I would enjoy it. I think if I had more of that backstory, maybe that would help me develop a care for these characters a little more.
Yeah, that's true.
But what about you? What's something that you would change or want to see?
You know, it sounds weird, but one of my biggest grievances with the Twilight franchise is I don't consider these characters vampires. Always been fascinating with the idea of vampires, from the old Universal movies to Anne Rice type vampires to everything in between. And while everybody has a different take on vampires, there's certain rules within the mythology.
Yeah, sure.
And these aren't vampires. No. They can go out in the daylight. They just choose to live in Seattle, of all places.
Is the worst.
Because they glow. Because that's their curse.
They glimmer.
They seem to make the fact that...
Sparkle's the word.
They sparkle. The Cullens choose to be vegetarians is a little too easy. There's not much of this tension. I want to feel like they have the ability to rip somebody's throat out.
Sure,
That there's this thirst. You know, they're not playing baseball because that's what they do. I feel like the Twilight vampires are the equivalent of the Count on Sesame Street, you know? And to me, like, what would make it more appealing is, like, I sit there on Sesame Street and I go, are you not in terror that this vampire is going to kill Snuffleupagus or Big Bear?
Did you have a horrible childhood?
He's a vampire. He's a vampire. So to me, if they were, and I'm not trying to make it horror or gory, I just think the idea of vampires, like even what you said with the backstory, tragic, dark, make them more vampires, focus more on that, and I think I would be much more engaged with this idea. And because part of that is the idea that, so Papa Bear Cullen turns them all into vampires, and you know, he says to save their lives, and they're okay with it. They live as this family. I would be pissed.
I think there is one person that's pissed, right? One of the sisters, maybe?
I'm sure the blonde one with a bad attitude, but I'd love to see more of that tension. So anyways, what else do you think? What would make this franchise more Pat and Dre approved?
Violence. Done. No, I mean, I'd like you want to know, you feel like
do it.
You want to feel like they can rip someone's throat out, right? Well, I want to see that. I'd pay for 3D in that trash. I would watch that, blood on my glasses. I want to see the gruesome, gritty goriness of this. I'm so sick of seeing Bella attack a panther or whatever. Like, let's see some real vampire destruction and chaos. I would love to see vampires being like, there was one part I think in the first movie where they killed a vampire and they like tore his limbs apart and it was like off screen.
Yeah.
PG-13 movie. Show me that. Like,
that's awesome. I agree with you on that. I remember, again, Eclipse was the first one I saw. And all of Eclipse builds to this fight with, I forget her name, but she had been in the previous
yeah, the weird redhead chick.
Yeah. It builds to this fight, and the fight was 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And that's when I walked out going, this is not for me.
Oh, dude, if I was going to see this movie, and I probably won't, but it's like if the epic conclusion, if we get another 10-second fight scene at the end for their epic battle, done. Well, I won't see the next movie.
Yeah. No,
even though they won't have a
they're
next
probably going to
movie.
make it, so.
But yeah, that's a few things that would make it better, right?
Well, I think I got one more.
Sure.
So, Buffy.
That's it?
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Just
Blade. No, here's what Van Helsing. But here's what I like. One of my favorite things of vampire lore is when you get, I guess, friendly vampires or the anti-heroes, but you sympathize for them. But it's always interesting to me when you introduce the vampire hunter type character. The person who, evil vampires,
now I understand what you're saying.
They destroyed my family, or in the Buffy lore, she's the chosen one, or whatever. You know, I love the first two Blade movies. You know, this half-breed whose mom got killed, so he's after them. And I think that would make it interesting, too, where you've got a human character like Bella. You've got these Cullen characters who are trying to let humans live, you know, respect humans. And you introduce this third-party vampire hunter, Ghostbuster type thing that is trying to take them out. And that's always if it's done well, like, I enjoy that, you know. It's kind of the idea of, you know, I like Joss Whedon. I wasn't huge into Buffy, but I liked elements of Buffy, you know. And it's what I liked with it's what I liked about the angel dynamic, that you had the vampire slayer that was in love with a vampire. You know, that I was more on board with that, but what do you think? Tweet at us. Sound off
what would make it better?
Sound off in the comments. What do you think? What do you think? Do you agree with us with what we think? What do you think would make Twilight more appealing to people like us? Are there things in the books that we're missing that the movies haven't gotten into? But anyways, that's all the time we have for this week.
Yeah, that's what we got. Hey, a few quick things before we let you go. Stick around for a Bo-Ro from...
Ooh, Skyfall!
Yeah, Dre's going to talk a little bit about Skyfall.
And Pat's going to sit here awkwardly.
Just like,
as we talk about it. Anyways, this is the first of many actual podcasts on YouTube.
Yeah.
So if you like what we're doing, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Even if you don't like it, subscribe to it anyway so you can criticize us.
It won't, it doesn't
leave
bother
awesome
you.
comments, like us. Don't forget to check us out. If you're listening to the audio, check us out on iTunes.
Yeah.
Subscribe to the Pat and Dre Show. Follow us on Twitter.
Find us on Twitter.
Magic. It's appearing at Pat and Dre.
That's right. You can
I'm
find
making
us there.
more work for our editors.
And even better, you can find us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/The Pat and Dre Show. You can find it. Just type in The Pat and Dre Show and we'll come up.
Woo!
And,
like it. Share it with your friends. Share it with
yeah.
your grandmothers. They're big Twilight fans.
They are. They're big hard.
So anyway, stick around after the credits, and we've got a Skyfall after bonus credit scene.
We'll see you next week, though, if you're not here for episode 120.
Woo!
I think of The Pat and Dre Show.
120 years of The Pat and Dre Show. All right, Skyfall review. So I mentioned it a little bit when we were talking about the trailer. I wasn't a huge fan growing up of the older James Bond movies. You know, the kind of the cheesy, almost Cody Banks-esque James Bond.
Bringing it full circle.
But in 2006, when Casino Royale came out, I went and saw it with my wife, and I loved it. I love Daniel Craig. I love the Bourne Identity type feel to it. I love the grim and gritty. And so I really liked it. Can't remember Quantum. And so here we are with Skyfall. So I went in excited about the preview and just flat out, and I'm going to try to stay as spoiler-free as I possibly can, you know, because for Pat and other members
everyone
of
else
our,
who hasn't seen it.
you know, like 3 other people. I really enjoyed Skyfall. I thought it was amazing. Now, Casino Royale, I think, is still my favorite in the reboot, mainly because it was so unexpected. And I think it's hard to recreate that level of surprise, but Skyfall was really, really well done. Let me just go through a couple of things I really liked. One,
I'm just trying to be helpful.
Just trying to do this so you're not sitting here awkwardly. The supporting cast. Yep. One, Daniel Craig is great, but this movie is really about Bond and M, Judi Dench's character, and she's just awesome. She is really the hard-nosed leader of MI6, really doesn't have much remorse, duty and country above all. Her relationship with Bond is this very twisted mother-son relationship. Yep. But it's really, really well done. One thing they do well with the supporting cast as well is they start setting up the future of this franchise. And also, like I mentioned when we were talking about the trailer, they're starting to bring in more elements of the Bond mythology from the previous movies within their filter. So like the preview obviously shows Q, and they have a good explanation as to why Q exists in their world, what that is, and it sets up Q, and especially the banter between him and Bond is really well done. We've got Naomi Harris's character, her name is Eve, she's another spy coming in, and they're really setting her up that we haven't seen the last of her in Skyfall. And Ralph Fiennes is set up, you know, British actor, he was Lord Voldemort in Harry Potter, and again, definitely he's gonna be a recurring character in these Bond movies, but to me, the star really was Javier Bardem as Silva, the villain. I don't want to go into too much spoiler territory, but he has ties to M, and he is just creepy.
Love it.
Just really creepy, just really, like, you're scared of him. And it's awesome because you don't get villains like that often, you know? Not because the character is portrayed the same way, but it does make me think of the Joker and the Dark Knight. You're just scared of these characters.
Sure, yeah.
And so his character, you're just really scared. And I really enjoy that because there's a realism to it. Really enjoyed it. Great action, great set pieces. There's a few points where the movie does move a little too quick, where it kind of just kind of moves like very easy, like okay, let's wrap this up and kind of move on. It's almost 2.5 hours, so they do get in a lot. But one thing I do enjoy too, what that this reboot has done is they're not afraid to touch on Bond's backstory a little bit more. And this one, probably more so than the other ones, touches on a little bit about Bond growing up. And really, there's a twist, and I didn't expect this at all, but what the title Skyfall means. Had no idea what to expect because of this, and the twist that they use it when they reveal what Skyfall is was actually really unexpected and really caught me off guard, but in a good way.
That's good. So you liked it?
I really enjoyed Skyfall. I highly recommend it, so go see it. So anyways, stick around. We've got more Pat and Dre Show coming to you next week. Boom.